Welcome. I am Dr. Patrice Berry, licensed clinical psychologist, and here I share legal and entertainment news from a psychological perspective. Really, oh my gosh, I saw this case come through a few days ago and we just had to talk about it. We often talk about families that are enmeshed or families where there aren't very good, very clear boundaries. And that was the first thing I thought of when I heard of this case. I also thought, like, oh my gosh. So, trigger warning for child loss because this is a tragic story, and yet the way that these sisters went about the aftermath is just I don't know how they thought that they were gonna get away with it, and these are allegations. People are innocent until proven guilty. There is a lot of evidence against them. And so let's take a look at this overview of the case really quick, and then we are going to dive deeper. If y'all have questions, please let me know. Thank you for joining in the chat. I appreciate you all as always. So let's hop right into this.
All right, here's a crazy story, all right? Identical twins from Minnesota are now accused of trying to swap places after one of them rear-ended a buggy, killing two kids. 35-year-old Samantha Jo Peterson now facing 21 charges, including vehicular homicide, DWI, leaving the scene of an accident. Police say she was behind the wheel back in September when she slammed into an Amish horse-drawn carriage. Crash killed 7-year-old Wilma Miller and 11-year-old Irma Miller and sent two of their siblings to the hospital. Police say Samantha Peterson swapped clothing with her twin sister, Sarah Peterson, at the crash scene before investigators got there because apparently she was high on meth. Her identical twin sister apparently tried to take the fall for her and, they say, lied to police.
At first, officers thought that Sarah Peterson was driving the motor vehicle, and after a variety of checking out the situation, they later on believed that Samantha Peterson was the driver. And
the criminal complaint says when the deputy stepped away from his vehicle, his digital recorder was still on in his squad truck and recorded Sarah telling her sister, quote, "I think one of the guys is on to me, but I really don't care. And there's no way they would ever know the difference between the two of us, so they can't tell." Sarah, the other one, had recently been in prison and reportedly may have felt she owed her sister a favor because Samantha took care of her kid.
Okay, so we have to just go ahead and talk about that part right now because the way that you repay your sister for watching your kids while she was incarcerated is not to like get her an edible arrangement, you like get her an Amazon gift card. Like you do not. I'm not going to like take another charge that would then possibly put her in jail. So I don't what? Like, and I think the sister that actually so they believe that Samantha Joe was the one who was actually driving the car at the time, and that her sister Sarah, and I might be getting them because it's like I think it's let me check again. Their names. So I'm just gonna go with Samantha and Sarah. I can definitely remember that part. But that Samantha was driving and Sarah took the place of her sister. And to me, if my sister had asked me to do something like that, it would have been a no, no, no. And Samantha was clearly if it's true that she was, intoxicated at the time, that is another huge red flag. And you don't do these things. Now, with twins, there can be this bond and there can be this connection with them. And these two twins, they have a history of changing, of like switching places in the past. And sometimes it starts in school, and there's not nothing wrong, but like sometimes twins will try to trick their teachers or trick their friends, or sometimes they'll try to say, like, you take my math test for me, or I don't know, like sometimes twins will try to do things like that. This is Like, I don't know if they were going to actually try to have Samantha be the one that actually did the time because they are identical twins, and with identical twins, and I don't know if they were monozygote, so there is, like there are I think with identical, it would have to be that their DNA is the same. I am glad I have heard, reports that they do not believe that they are going to need the surviving children to testify, that they likely are not going to need them to testify because there is so much evidence against the 2 of them in this, and they just made everything way worse by trying to switch places because they have the one twin, uh, Sarah, they have Sarah on video dropping off her children around the time of the incident. That's my understanding of their evidence so far, so they know that she clearly was not there, and like and I believe Samantha didn't even have a valid license. So let's listen to the rest of this. Let me know if y'all have questions in the chat and we will talk about this.
Kids while she was behind bars. Prosecutors also say the day of the crash, Samantha messaged two managers at her place she works saying she messed up. One text message to her HR manager apparently reads in part, I just hit an effing buggy and I killed two people and I'm not sober. Police
And so that text message is going to be used as evidence. She messaged Samantha, Joe, messaged her manager or her HR. So managed her somebody in HR to say this. And then she tried to get her sister to take her place because her sister had a valid license and her sister was likely sober. And they ended up getting into so much more trouble. This was not like you just don't do crimes and then like don't do silly stuff. Like this just does not make any sense.
Police say they also found various internet searches on Samantha Peterson's phone, including, and I'm not joking here, if you hit a buggy and kill two people, are you going to prison? Court records show Samantha has a prior record, including at least two prior DWI.
So once again, she Googled, and she's obviously not a true crime person because anybody that follows true crime knows that they're going to look at your Google searches. And I guess in just taking her phone and looking at her phone and going to history, they were able to see that she Googled, do you go to jail if you hit a buggy? And like, what? Like, this just and I'm glad that, someone in the chat mentioned that they have a twin and they would never, ever, ever do this. And, Irene, I'm guessing because I'm just catching up on the comments now. Your twins look alike, but they're not identical. And, when I was growing up, there were, Maisha and Aisha. They were twins. I don't believe they ever tried to switch places. They were fraternal, but they looked a lot alike. And like I know that twins can have a really, really strong connection. Sometimes some twins don't get along at all, and they can get a lot of flack for that. Parents have to be very sensitive when raising twins. If it comes to a point that they don't want to dress the same or they don't want to, because they want to kind of form their own individual identities, to allow them to do that, which can be, because as parent, it can be fun to dress them up alike. And sometimes you give them similar names and all of that, but definitely letting them become their own people is really, really important. I wanted to talk about enmeshment in families because it's almost like they felt responsible because to me, this was 100% Samantha's problem, and Samantha should have been the one to deal with it. And Sarah, who has children, is now likely going to do some additional jail time because she was trying to be supportive to her sister. And there's a difference between supporting someone and enabling them. And when somebody is either actively, like if they're in active substance, abuse, you have to be really careful that you don't do things that enable their behavior. Maybe what Samantha really needed to get, like to help her get sober was to realize like, okay, like I did this. I'm going to have to go down for this. I have a problem and I need to work on this. That could have happened potentially in this case, and the sister might have felt obligated to come and rescue her sister. To me, no, like I would not have done that, but I have very clear boundaries. Very, very clear. I've said it multiple times. Like I don't I just I would never ever do this. Uh Kelly, don't be out there giving people tips. So just don't do crimes. Don't try to get anyone else's phone.
DUI arrests and giving a false name to law enforcement. If convicted of the new charges, she could face decades behind bars. Her sister Sarah is also facing 16 felony charges, including criminal vehicular homicide. All 16 charges indicate that Sarah Peterson tried.
Because Sarah technically said I was the one that was driving, they might charge both of them with this, like, they might charge both of them, even though they likely know it wasn't. Like, I wonder if they're gonna charge them together. I believe this incident happened back in September of last year. It just started making news again, or in the last week or so. Let's go ahead and keep going with this.
And tried to conceal or take responsibility for her identical sister's criminal acts. Joining me now is Juliet Oliver.
Alright,
She
we're not gonna
prosecuted a recent.
And so I have the link to that entire video down in the description. It's so cool that there are so many people that are twins or no twins that are down, that are commenting. Hey, Phoenix. Hello to the rest of the chat. So glad that everyone was able to be here. Um, because KM, you had an interesting question, and I don't know that Sarah was involved with it at all. I think Sarah was trying to protect her sister, like, thinking that she would get in less trouble than Samantha, and technically, I don't know if Samantha was maybe going to do the time for her. Like, I don't know what they were trying to do, but I believe they might even be on camera trying to change shirts. I've seen reports that one of them had on a black shirt, somebody else had on a red shirt, and witnesses or somebody saw them change clothes to try to fit with the narrative that it was Sarah and not Samantha. And so, like, I don't have nobody's back like that. I do not believe in the whole, ride or nope, I'm gonna live. Like I'm not ride or I'm not down for whatever. Nope. I am just not. And I don't think that people should be expected to go down for something that somebody else did. To me, Sarah had no like obligation to, in my mind, to take the responsibility for her sister, and that doing so could keep her sister in this problematic loop that some individuals that are struggling with substances can definitely get into. I was trying to see because there was this great post about how sometimes people think that to support one another, I have to sacrifice myself completely and I have to stay in a burning boat and go down with everybody. No, like if there's a safe way for me to get safe, I don't see that as selfish. I wouldn't have thought that if Sarah, like let's say Samantha asked Sarah to do that, and, like, if I got that text message or if I got that phone call, I'd be like, "Oh, I can't, nope." I would've said no. Um, but that is a lot. That is a lot. Alright, so, um I'm just not gonna do it. I'm never ever going to do that. I also wonder if Sarah thought that her sister couldn't handle being incarcerated. So let's say Sarah was going to do the time for her sister. I wonder if she was thinking, I've always been the protector. I've worked with twins where sometimes one of them did try to protect the other one, and they would try to almost parent the other one, and there was this imbalance with personal responsibility or just where they would stand in for each other in a way that was not healthy. I've also seen that with siblings, sometimes too, not even just twins. I've seen that with siblings too. But that case is a lot. I'm glad that we did get to take a look at it. It's one that I will definitely be following as things go along. I am going the next video, and if you want to hang around and in about 15 minutes, I'll be going live talking about the Oxford Pew Pew, so the James Crumbly case. But I am going to take a look back at some of Jennifer's testimony. It's like really quick, just a really quick expert excerpt from Jennifer, because I think James's trial, I'll be interested to see what the jury thinks, because I think his lawyer is taking a better approach than Jennifer's did. And I'll just be interested to see if James takes the stand at all and what he says and how the jury sees him. Because I do think that likability was definitely an issue that came up. That's just my opinion. To me, Jennifer came off as like flippant and not caring. And the clip that I'm going to show is the one where she says that if she had to do it again, she would not have done anything different. And most people, and nobody ever wants to be in her shoes, most people I think would have said, "I wish I had got him help. I wish I did realize how severe this was. I wish we didn't give him access to the weapon. I wish we had checked, went by the house really quick to make sure." Like the fact that she said that she wouldn't have done anything different, I don't think that set well with the jury. And but it'll just be interesting to see what happens with James's case. And we're also going to talk about the school, because I do think the school counselors and dean, in Virginia, we handle things differently. And I want to talk about how risk assessments are sometimes handled within the school setting. Based on what I've heard, it does not sound like a formal risk assessment was done. And so, I like his lawyer is doing such like she's doing a much better job than I think Jennifer's did. Jennifer's had an abrasive style to me. Like her lawyer just came off a bit to me kind of combative and just like I don't know, like it was kind of annoying to me. Like it wasn't, at times, it didn't seem professional, and her closing statement, I will never recover from not knowing that she was gonna go to talk, like, about, like, the things she was gonna say during her closing argument. I think she was trying to make the best possible plea for her client, but I think it backfired in major ways, and so, yes, I love this one. I've always told my son, "If you're innocent, I'll be the first one there to defend you. If you're guilty, I'll be the first one to hold you accountable." Yes, I feel the same way. If this was my child and you were under the influence and all of these things, I would not bail them out. They would sit with the consequences of their actions. You did the thing, now you need to take responsibility, and now, depending I just if I did, like, pay for their lawyer or something, they would be paying me back. Like, you owe me. Like, they would have to pay me back for that, and maybe I wouldn't get, like, the most expensive one, but sometimes having your own attorney versus a public defender, just sometimes that can make a difference. But so I will see y'all over, anybody that wants to stay and chat in about 10 minutes talking about the Oxford situation. We are going to talk about that next. I hope y'all enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.